Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Global Sun Simulation System and the Dying Sun. Now, in article 213, producing lenses out of air in the Earth's atmosphere, I wrote about the fact that lenses seem to be produced within the Earth's atmosphere through the application of electromagnetic technology, which then gives rise to resonant sound wave effects, thus producing regions of changing densities of air, which will thus have different and oscillating refractive indices. These regions will therefore bend light and produce distortion. These lenses are necessary components of the global sun simulation system that seems to be in operation on Earth, and which I detailed in Article 166 entitled Sun Simulation and Lens System. This system appears to have several different components. Some will be in orbit and others will operate within the atmosphere. At least one simulator appears to be in orbit, and this simulator appears to be producing most of the Earth's illumination around the midday position. However, it is not likely that it can simulate the sun close to the sunset and the sunrise positions. Sun simulators within the atmosphere would be required to simulate the sun low on the horizon. In addition, the sun simulator in orbit is not likely to be able to adequately illuminate these peripheral regions. And this is represented here. This would be the simulator in orbit. It's able to illuminate a region close to the midday position. The blue indicates the part of the Earth that's supposed to be in daylight. But because the sun simulator is much closer to the Earth than the actual sun, it's not able to illuminate the peripheral regions around here. So simulators within the atmosphere are required then. The simulator, in order to be able to move at the correct speed, would have to be at an orbital altitude of 12,500 miles. Now, evidence that atmospheric simulators are indeed operating within the Earth's atmosphere arises out of the many photographs showing diverging light beams coming through holes in clouds. And now there is additional evidence coming from a recent third phase of the moon YouTube video, which shows a light source within thick cloud filmed from above the cloud cover. And this is what I first wrote about, and that is if there's thick cloud with holes in it, then these beams of light that are formed by light coming through these holes diverge. And if the light was all coming from the sun, which is extremely far away with infinity, these beams of light would all come through these clouds at the same angle, so they would be parallel to each other. They're obviously not parallel to each other, and if we extend these beams backwards and see where they intersect, we can see where the light is coming from, and it is very close, just above the cloud. That's where these intersect. This would be therefore where the light source is, and therefore it cannot be the sun, because the sun cannot be within the atmosphere. This has to be a simulator. Now, third phase of the moon put out this video where a cloud below an airplane is being videoed. So this is video footage from an airplane. You can see light from within the cloud, which actually looks very dark. So clearly very likely that it's not being properly illuminated from the top of the cloud. Now, the fact that the sun now looks white and bluish, especially at the midday position, never yellow within the Earth's atmosphere, as the real sun would, is evidence that we are not seeing the real sun from within the Earth's atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere scatters blue light out of the white light emitted by the real sun, and this is the reason why the sky used to look blue and the sun yellow. Other evidence that what is now operating in the Earth's atmosphere is not the sun is the obvious multicolored beams emanating from the central light source, which we can see here, as well as the multicolored additional light sources. As you can see, several light sources around the central light source, and these are congregated around it. In addition, there seems to be disc-shaped objects which seem to have holes in them, and these seem to form an array. So the main light source here has 6 double beams, perhaps some parts is 3, the top and the bottom, and these are emanating from it, showing that it has a hexagonal symmetry, and of course it cannot be a natural object. This is of course clearly a device. Now these photographs were taken by Scott Sion the other day, and you can see this pink light beam going right through the simulator. As you can see, this is not the real sun. It looks white, almost looks like a bright fluorescent light within the atmosphere. And in article 166, entitled Sun Simulation Lens System, I mentioned that sun simulators, whether these were operating from orbital altitude or operating within the atmosphere, are likely to be getting power from the Earth's ionosphere, and that they may be connecting through it through laser beams. And here we see what looks like a pink laser beam. As you can see, it looks brighter here. And this is a little later as this chemtrail has spread further. And a little while later, there was no pink light beam, so that shows this is not an effect from the camera. This was actually a light beam shining right through the device and for a limited time period. Now, if we look some of the photographs that were taken at the same time, there actually seems to be a shadow formed as a result of this spreading chemtrail cloud. You can see it has about the same shape as it does. There's this kink in it, which we also see here. And this is not the only photograph. You can see this chemtrail starting to form here. And in an earlier image that a chemtrail was not here yet, you can clearly see that this seems to be a shadow of this cloud. It then goes behind the actual cloud here. So this cloud is lower than this chemtrail cloud is. Here there seems to be a shadow as well, but it's closer to the cloud, and here it's even closer to the cloud. And this is most likely because the cloud above it is closer closer to this spreading line of chemtrail cloud. So it depends on the altitude of the cloud above it, but there seems to actually be a shadow. And this would indicate that there is illumination from below shining upwards. And this indicates that there is an attempt being made to illuminate the atmosphere and make it brighter, also perhaps to cause this region around this light source in the sky, which is obviously artificial,